You know that feeling, those troubling negative thoughts, that loop in your head whispering doubts, fears, or criticisms. They feel true and they can hijack your peace, right? But what if I told you most of what your mind says in those moments are lies? And what if you could learn to spot them, challenge them, and stop them for good? That's exactly what we're doing in chapter 3, stopping your mind's lies, how to challenge negative thoughts and win. This isn't about ignoring your thoughts, it's about dissecting them, dismantling their power, and taking back control of your mental battlefield. Ready to win that war in your mind? Let's go. Okay, so let's start by understanding how these negative thoughts operate. They're masters of distortion, twisting your perspective until reality looks nothing like it truly is. They take a tiny spark of worry and ignite it into a full blown inferno. One of the most common and destructive ways your mind lies to you is through catastrophizing. What is catastrophizing? It's when your mind takes a minor challenge or a small amount of uncertainty and immediately leaps into the absolute worst scenario. It's like your brain is writing and directing a Hollywood disaster movie about your life, complete with dramatic music and an apocalyptic ending, all sparked by something so small, like you spilled your coffee, and suddenly you imagine losing your job, your house, and living under a bridge. You send an email with a typo. Your brain screams, your career is over. Everyone thinks you're incompetent. This isn't about a realistic approach to challenges. It's about your mind creating a terrifying, exaggerating future that is highly unlikely to happen. It keeps you paralyzed by fear, preventing action, and fueling endless overthinking. Okay, so we've talked about how your mind loves to direct disaster movies with catastrophizing. Now, let's expose another incredibly common thought trap. Emotional reasoning. This is, I feel it, therefore it's true lie. Emotional reasoning is when you take your feelings as absolute proof of reality, even when there's no factual evidence to back them up. If you're feeling overwhelmed, your mind concludes, this situation is impossible. If you're feeling anxious about something, your mind may scream, it must be dangerous. Your feelings are powerful, yes, but they are not always fact. They are often reacting to your thoughts, not how things really are. When you fall into emotional reasoning, you're letting your emotions dictate your reality, leading to endless overthinking as you try to solve a problem that only exists in your emotional state, not in actual fact. It keeps you stuck in the loop of feeling bad and believing those feelings are the truth. Okay, so we've pulled back the curtain a bit on catastrophizing and emotional reasoning, two powerful ways your mind twists reality. You're starting to see some of the examples of how these negative thoughts operate, how they create terrifying, often a false story that happens to keep you stuck in overthinking. But here's the critical part. Simply identifying these traps isn't enough. Knowing your mind lies is the first step, but the real power comes from learning how to disarm them, how to fight back, and mastering the art of reframing, continuously shifting your perspective. But first, let's put your thought detective skills to work, questioning your negative thoughts. This is about a deep investigation. Like a detective, you're learning to really dig into your thoughts, questioning the ones that hold you captive to find the real truth. Here's your 3-step system to interrogate those negative thoughts the moment they take hold. First, ask, is this a fact or opinion? Or is this 100% true? This question forces you to figure out what's just your feelings versus a fact. Often, what feels like solid truth is simply a strong opinion or Fear pretending to be fact. Next, ask, what is the evidence for or against this thought? What supports the evidence? Put your courtroom lawyer hat on. Don't just accept the thought, demand proof. Look for concrete data that supports it. And just as importantly, search for any evidence that contradicts it. The payoff of doing this, you will quickly find that the evidence for your overthinking is typically flimsy, based more on assumptions and fears than solid ground. Lastly, what's the opposite of that thought? I'm going to give you an example here. Let's say you're thinking, I'm going to fail. Now becomes, what if I succeeded? This question isn't about denial, it's about expanding your perspective. Your mind often presents only one extreme, negative possibility. By intentionally consider the opposite, you open up new pathways and remind yourself there's more than one potential outcome. It breaks the tunnel vision of negativity. By consistently applying these questions, you begin to dismantle the power of those negative thoughts. You move from being a victim of your mind to becoming a master of it. Now, with this foundation of questioning, it's time for the art of reframing. This is where you learn to actively change how you see things and rewrite your internal narrative. Reframing is about changing the lens through which you are looking at the situation. Realizing when we look through a lens of disempowerment, we block ourselves from solutions. A powerful reframe is turning problems into challenges. So instead of saying, I have a problem, shift your language to, I have a challenge to solve. This subtle language shift moves your brain from feeling overwhelmed to feeling empowered and curious. It primes your mind for action, not paralysis, because the words you speak are powerful. And when I say powerful, I mean it. Your brain doesn't just hear the words, it reacts to them. Negative words can trigger stress responses and literally limit your ability to see solutions. But when you choose words that are empowering and solution focused, like challenge instead of problem, you activate a different part of your brain. You're telling your brain to open up, get curious, and start looking for ways forward instead of shutting down in fear. It's more than just words, it's actually changing how you feel. Another way you can shift this situation is from fear to curiosity. When your mind screams, oh no, what if this goes wrong? Ask instead, what is interesting about this situation? Curiosity opens your mind to possibilities and learning, while fear closes it down and fuels overthinking. This simple shift can transform your emotional state and unlock new pathways of thinking. Now, let's take this a step further by creating a go to response kit. This is a personalized set of phrases you can grab instantly when overthinking takes over. Think of it as your mental emergency toolkit, ready to deploy the moment those negative thoughts attempt to hijack your mind. Your go to kit can include your personal affirmations for overthinking. Make sure they are short, positive, and in the present tense that you can repeat to yourself easily when you feel stuck. Here's a couple examples. I am safe and capable. I can handle this. Or you can also use a powerful quote that resonates with you. Here's an example of one of my favorites. And comment below if you know who said it originally. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So you've learned how to put those negative thoughts on trial and win. This chapter has armed you with the direct ways to win the war against overthinking and step into your power. Now it's time to put these powerful lessons into action. Ready to claim your calm? Click here to watch Chapter 4, Embracing Mindfulness and Presence, and discover how the present moment is your inner sanctuary from the past and the future. Don't miss out on unlocking your peace. And if you'd like to pick up an actual print version of Unburdened, How to Stop Overthinking, the 8-step guide for clarity and real results, check out the link in the description or comments below.